Once upon a very long time, a poor man went up a mountain to end it all. He was confused, frustrated, and grief-stricken. There was nothing in his life worth living for. He was crying and knotting a noose to end his life when God interrupted him. "Young man, why do you want to take your life?" God asked. He was taken aback by the voice, but soon realized it was God. "God, is that you?" "Well, I am frustrated. I am a very poor man and cannot feed my wife." The poor man retorted. God was interested in taking his petition, so he told him to come up higher on the mountain. He took his seat on a rock and quizzed him further. After saying so much in frustration, God decided to help the poor man. "You have 3 wishes, son. Ask whatsoever you please." He was about to say his wishes, but God interrupted him. "Stop. Go home and think about it. Come back with your request tomorrow. You have 3 wishes," God said. The poor man was elated. He hurried away and was whistling excitedly when he got home. His wife was astonished. Her husband was always miserable, and now she was wondering what had changed. "My husband, why are you so happy today? I haven't seen you this way in a very long time." The poor man narrated joyfully what transpired between him and God, and the wife was greatly pleased. They ate the rest of their meager dinner that day and went to bed. The woman snuggled up to her husband and kissed his skinny chin. "So, my husband, what will be your first wish when you meet with God tomorrow?" "Oh, my dear wife, I will tell God to give me $1 billion. We will be rich," the man said. The woman grumbled and accused him of not having her in his plans. "My husband, now I know that you do not love me," she said, stroking the hairs on her husband's chest. The poor man was both amused and shocked. "Come on, honey. What do you mean?" "You know I love you," the poor man said. "If you love me, then do me this favor. You know I am very ugly. Ask God to make me beautiful," the woman said. The poor man spoke glowingly about how much he loved her the way she was. His words were genuine and pure, but his wife was not having it. "I know you love me, my dear husband, but I want you to ask God to make me beautiful," she insisted. The poor man tried to convince her, but failed woefully. She had her needs and insisted that they should be met as proof that her husband truly loved her. "My husband, you have 2 more wishes. You can ask for your $1 billion later," the woman said in his ears as she kissed him and hugged him closely. The poor man didn't like the idea, but he decided to please his wife. He kissed her and assured her he would speak to God about her needs. She shrieked with delight. She was so excited, hugged him, and was full of gratitude. "Thank you, my husband. Now the world will see the beautiful wife of a poor man," she said. "Rich man, my dear, I am going to be rich," the poor man retorted. They laughed and slept sweetly in each other's arms that night. Very early in the morning the next day, the poor man rushed to the mountain. "God, where are you? I have come with my first wish," he screamed, looking around to find God. "That is lovely. I am sure you must have given it a great good thought." God said to him, "Yes, God." The poor man replied. "So what's your wish?" God asked. "I want you to make my wife very beautiful. I want you to make her the most beautiful woman in this world." The poor man said, "Oh, granted, my son." "Just like that?" the poor man exclaimed. "Just like that," God said. He thanked God and rushed home to his wife. As he pulled open the door, he saw the most stunning beauty his eyes had ever seen. His wife was younger and very pretty. She looked at him happily and ran into his embrace. "My husband, I cannot believe it. I am so beautiful." They were both very happy and grateful. "Let me quickly get to the market and prepare a delicious meal for you. Now I know that you truly love me," the woman said. The man was pleased with her looks and took a seat in the poverty-stricken room. She got into her best dress and set out. On the streets, she walked with feline grace, and the villagers were stunned. The news soon got to the king of a damsel with the beauty of the gods. No one had ever seen any woman as beautiful as she was. She strutted the market proudly, got a few items, and went back home. She couldn't wait to tell her husband of her sweet and glorious experience and escapades with the villagers. She was horrified when she got home. Her husband was in the chokehold of the king's guards. Their room had been turned upside down. My love, run! Run! The poor man cried, but it was too late. The guards seized her and dragged her out of the poorly furnished cottage. She was as beautiful as they told them she was. She cried and pleaded with them, but they would never let go of her. "The king wants to marry you. Don't worry, you have no business suffering with this poor man," one of the soldiers said to her. She struggled with them and wailed. She loved her poor husband and didn't want anything to do with the king. "Let me go," she cried as the guards dragged her along. The poor man wept bitterly after they left with his wife. He felt terrible, confused, and lonely. That night, he got a note from his wife. Her friend who worked in the palace had got the note out for him. The poor man received it with thanks and eagerly straightened out the crumpled paper. In the letter were the most heart-ripping and touching words. "My love," the poor man's wife wrote, "the king has compelled me to marry him. I cannot bear to leave you, honey. Please tell God to transform me into a very ugly creature. The king will send me out, and I can come back to you. I love you." The poor man read the note with tears in his eyes. He felt very sorry for his wife. He knew just what to ask from God for his second wish. The next day, he couldn't wait for cockcrow and set out earlier than usual for the mountain. "God, I have my second wish. The king has taken my wife from me," he screamed. "That's a very sad news." God empathized with him. "God, for my second wish, I want you to transform my wife into a very weird creature." "God, are you listening?" the poor man said. "I am all ears, son." God's words soothed his nerves. "Please transform her into a very ugly beast so the king can send her packing." The poor man repeated, "Granted." "Thank you, God," the poor man said in appreciation and walked back home relieved. By the time he got home, he met his wife in the room. She had the form of a creature far more uglier than anything he had ever seen. She ran into his arms and held him tight in a furry embrace. They wept bitterly that night. "My husband, I am very sorry for all that I have put you through," she said, crying. "You shouldn't be, my dear wife. We should blame the wicked king who forcefully took you away from me." She sniffed and snuggled up to him on the bed. It was most uncomfortable for the poor man, but he loved his wife greatly. "My husband, please, I cannot continue to look this way," she said. I know. The poor man sighed. "I know exactly what to do." His wife was full of gratitude and words of praise. "Thank you, my darling," she said, and hugged him tightly. It was dawn the next day and the poor man was sleeping. His wife nudged him awake. "My husband, are you still sleeping? Why not quickly go to God on the mountain this morning before he changes his mind?" she said. "He won't." The poor man yawned and stretched out in bed. "Please hurry, my love. I will make you breakfast before you return." She encouraged him. The poor man set out to the mountain to meet with God for the last wish. "God, I am back for my last wish," he screamed. "Oh, great. How is your wife?" God asked. He spoke painfully about the weird and bad looks of his wife. "I am listening," God said. "God, my wife has been transformed into a wild beast. Please make her human again." "Granted," God said. "Thank you, my Lord, and my God," he said hesitantly. "But God, can I come back one last time?" The poor man pleaded. "My son, you have made 3 wishes already," God said. He knew his thoughts and stopped him in his heels. "But God, I am still poor." The poor man groaned. "I know, but you have made your choice," God said to him calmly. "Do you realize now that you're the architect of your misfortune?" God asked. It was a rhetorical question. The man walked away from the presence of God in silence. On his face was a painful and pensive mournfulness. Man is the architect of his misfortune. Those words reverberated in his mind as he wept silently, feeling very sorry for himself. Moral of the story: man is the architect of his misfortune. No one is responsible for your greatness or failures, but you. Listen to your wife with wisdom. Your wife is largely emotional, but as a man, you are rational. Be wise. Share yours in the comment section. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe, like, and share. See you soon on our next video, and thank you for watching.